The old townsfolk of Havenwood used to say that every shadow held a story. For 7-year-old Lily, every shadow held a monster, and she drew them all. Not the cuddly, misunderstood kind from storybooks, but things with too many teeth, with eyes that dripped ink, and limbs that bent at impossible angles. Her sketchbook was a bestiary of nightmares, each page filled with charcoal creatures born from the deepest corners of darkness. Her parents, Mark and Sarah, were worried. At first, they thought it was a phase, a morbid fascination common in creative children. They tried replacing her charcoal sticks with bright crayons, her stark white paper with colorful construction sheets. But Lily would just use a black crayon until it was a nub, drawing the same spindly, horrifying figures. Her favorite was a tall, gaunt man she called the Whistler. He had no face, just a smooth expanse of skin where features should be, and long, twig-like fingers. Lily said she could hear him whistling outside her window at night, a tune that sounded like wind through a cracked bone. A child psychologist, Dr. Alistair Finch, was consulted. He was a kind man with a gentle smile, but his smile faltered when he saw Lily's drawings. He'd flipped through the sketchbook, his brow furrowed. The creatures were unnervingly detailed. The way the sinew seemed to stretch over bone, the glint of malice in their pinprick eyes. It was beyond the imagination of a typical 7-year-old. "Lily," he asked one afternoon, pointing to a drawing of a hunched creature with spider-like legs, "where do you see these things?" Lily, who rarely spoke to anyone but her parents, simply pointed a small finger towards the corner of the room, where the afternoon sun cast a long, distorted shadow from a coat rack. "He's hiding there," she whispered. "He's shy." Dr. Finch recommended they move her to a room with more light, to fill her world with brightness. They repainted her bedroom a sunny yellow, installed brighter bulbs, and even left the hallway light on at night. For a while, it seemed to work. Lily's drawings became less frequent. She even drew a lopsided, smiling sun once. Mark and Sarah breathed a collective sigh of relief. The shadows were receding. Hey little angels, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. But the quiet didn't last. A week later, a powerful storm knocked out the power in all of Havenwood. The house was plunged into an oppressive, unfamiliar darkness, broken only by the frantic flashes of lightning. Mark fumbled for flashlights while Sarah rushed to Lily's room. She found her daughter not crying or scared, but sitting perfectly still in the middle of her floor, a single charcoal stick in her hand. Her sketchbook was open. By the next flash of lightning, Sarah saw the drawing. It was a Whistler, but this time, he wasn't just standing there. He was drawn stepping out of the page. A low, melodic whistle echoed from downstairs. It was a chillingly familiar tune, the same one Lily had described. Mark called up, his voice tight with a fear Sarah had never heard before. "Sarah, is Lily with you? I think someone's in the house." The whistling grew louder, closer, weaving its way up the staircase. Sarah's blood ran cold. She grabbed Lily, pulling her into the closet and shutting the door just as the bedroom door creaked open. Peeking through the slats, Sarah saw a silhouette fill the doorway. It was impossibly tall and thin, its limbs long and disjointed, just like in the drawing. It tilted its head, and though it had no face, Sarah felt its gaze sweep the room. The whistling stopped. A new sound started. A soft, dry scratching. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It was the sound of charcoal on paper. From outside the closet, in the dark of the bedroom, something was drawing. Sarah held her breath, pressing Lily's face into her shoulder, praying the child wouldn't make a sound. The scratching continued for what felt like an eternity before a new sound joined it. A faint, guttural whisper, like dry leaves skittering across pavement. It was a name, Lily. Suddenly, the scratching stopped. Heavy, uneven footsteps retreated from the room and down the stairs. The front door groaned open, then slammed shut. A moment later, the house lights flickered back on, flooding the world with blessed, artificial light. Mark came sprinting up the stairs, his face pale. "It's gone," he gasped. "Whatever it was, it's gone." They found the sketchbook on the floor. It was open to a new page. Drawn in thick, aggressive charcoal strokes was their house, and standing in front of it was a whistler. But he wasn't alone. Standing beside him, holding one of his long, twig-like hands, was a small, crudely drawn figure of a girl. Lily. Underneath the drawing, in shaky, childlike letters, was a single word, "Found." That night, as Mark and Sarah held each other in the living room, too terrified to sleep, they heard a faint scratching from upstairs. Slowly, they crept up to Lily's room. The door was ajar. Peeking inside, they saw their daughter at her small desk, sketchbook open, charcoal in hand. She was drawing furiously, her small form silhouetted against the nightlight. She wasn't drawing a monster. She was drawing her window, and on the other side of the glass, peering in, were two new figures. One was a hulking, hunched beast with dozens of eyes, and the other was a woman made of shadow, her hair like rising snakes. Lily turned, her eyes wide not with fear, but with a strange, solemn understanding. She held up the sketchbook for her parents to see. "They want to come in," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "The whistler told them where we live. He told them I can let them in." She pointed to the empty space on the page next to the two new monsters. "All I have to do is draw the door." Mark and Sarah never slept with the lights off again. They boarded up Lily's window, took away every pencil, crayon, and piece of charcoal they could find. They told themselves it was just a child's overactive imagination, a waking nightmare brought on by the storm. But they couldn't ignore the sounds that started coming from inside the walls: a low, mournful whistle, a dry, rhythmic scratching. And they never, ever looked directly into the shadows, because sometimes, when the light hit just right, they could swear they saw eyes looking back. And they knew, with a certainty that froze their souls, that Lily's monsters weren't just in her head anymore. They were waiting, they were patient, and they were learning the layout of the house, one shadow at a time. The girl who drew monsters had become their beacon, their artist, their key, and they were all just waiting for her to draw the door. Thank you so much for joining me for this story. If you felt that chill run down your spine, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe, and maybe keep a light on tonight. I will see you in the next one.